Absolutely, Amber and Joel. You know, and the National Hurricane Center did a good job saying that that was a good possibility that once it got into that warmer water, less shear, winds aloft, it would really crank up. It did just that, unfortunately. Here's what we know. There are some changes we want to talk about in the potential forecast track of Florence. But here's the latest from the National Hurricane Center. Again, those winds up to 130 miles per hour in the hurricane. It's moving westward now. Now, on the coast, they could see winds almost that strong. We would not inland, but still, there's the potential for damaging winds to hurricane force into central North Carolina. Not 130, but certainly enough to pull down some trees or power lines with them. There's the eye of the storm again, very well defined as it almost looks like a buzzsaw churning through the Atlantic, moving towards the west now at about 13 miles per hour. Here's the latest. We'll get a new update from the Hurricane Center coming up just before 5 o'clock. At noon, though, winds at 130, moving west at 13. Category 4 hurricane. It may become a 5 in the official track right now, not forecast to, but very close with winds at 150 by Wednesday. It's forecast to be a little less intense. Hate to say the word weak, but less intense as it approaches the coast. This is Thursday at 8 a.m. So if this is Thursday 8 a.m., this is Friday 8 a.m., you'd think about, say, midnight or so, or noontime, I should say, on Thursday, you'd see a landfall, potentially a catastrophic Category 4 hurricane. The last 4 was Hazel in 1954. The difference was it was racing northward. It did a lot of damage, but it was gone within hours. Not the case with Florence. Forecast to weaken very quickly over land, as you might expect, but still a Category 1 hurricane, potentially in the Sandhills by the time we get towards Saturday morning, or Friday morning, I should say, and then Saturday morning pushing towards the Triad. But again, the cone of possibility here from the Outer Banks down almost to Charleston in South Carolina. So still not set in stone that it's going to crash on our shoreline, although that is the indication right now. With a Category 4 hurricane, you're talking about a very destructive storm surge on the coast, which would do incredible damage there. But the change we're talking about over the last few hours, the forecast model tracks, yesterday they were all tightly clustered about here. They've shifted a bit northward, so several are offshore right now, which would put the Outer Banks in peril, of course, but would make for a better scenario potentially for central North Carolina. So I wouldn't be surprised. That's the Hurricane Center track there. The 5 o'clock advisory, they may nudge it a little bit to the north, say between Hatteras and Cape Lookout. That's just my guess, but that's typically what they do, is follow the middle of the road with those forecast tracks. We'll see. Either way, it's all going to depend on this area of high pressure, at least one of the main factors, where it is when Florence approaches. What will it do? One thing it looks like it'll do is steer it towards us, unfortunately. The other unfortunate thing is it looks like it's going to expand westward and block it from moving. So there's a chance it may stall or stumble around parts of North Carolina for several days. That would unleash extensive rainfall of 10 plus inches of rain, maybe 15 or more. Timing the winds. If this track verifies, again, that could change. This is Wednesday, 8 p.m. on the coast. You'd still have much of Wednesday to get ready. So you've got tomorrow, you've got Wednesday, but this is Thursday, 8 a.m. And these are tropical force strength winds. The potential for that, they get very high. So it looks like in the Triangle, Fayetteville, we will see potentially sustained winds above 40 miles per hour with gusts higher than that. Now, rainfall amounts, a big question because it depends on the track of the storm, the speed of the storm. The potential is there, though. You see some of these spots, 12, 13 inches of rain around the region. Could be more than that in spots. Not to say RDU Airport's going to get 13 and Kenansville 9. No way to know that. There's going to be a narrow band of 15 plus inches of rain somewhere. That, of course, would set off catastrophic flooding, too. So a lot to look at, still many possibilities. So we don't want to say it's set in stone that we're just going to get hammered by this, but the potential is there, obviously, with a North Carolina landfall late Thursday. Damaging winds in the Triangle could see winds that sustained at 40 or higher with hurricane-force wind gusts possible, too. That's 74 or higher. If it tracks towards the Sandhills, you would have higher wind gusts than that. Those flooding rains, 10 inches plus, and, of course, with that would come the power outages. I know a lot of folks are getting ready. It's a good idea. Remember not to forget your pets, too. Keep everybody safe. We'll be with you through the storm. Going to show you a couple of scenarios from 2 different models that are pretty reliable, showing vastly different solutions. That's coming up in just a little bit. Joel?